teach you how to become a better rifler and what tips and tricks I use to become even better. So yeah, let's get into it. But one thing that's really important when you play also competitive matches is the term called counter-strafing. Basically what counter-strafing is like moving to the right, D for example, and then if you press A, then you stop immediately. But don't press A and they just like keep running, and that will make your aim and spray really bad. For example, this is how it can look if you don't do it correctly. You will have to, like, for example, go to the side, and then when you shoot, it won't be like that precise. If you want to do it really correctly, then you have to like always press like the opposite button of what you're pressing. So it can look like a bit like this. And you're like constantly moving around, but in the same time you're standing still when you're shooting. So that's a really important concept to remember. Another important thing that you really want to try and avoid is obviously getting shot when you're playing. So an important term that we're using a lot on our team, and a lot of top team is actually using, is the term called jiggle peeking. Really sure where the enemy is, but you want to get the information without being shot. You have to like come close to the corner, show a bit of your body, like sidestepping back and forth, and that's a really important concept. And like if you want to become really good at this game, you have to master that. Like it's one of the things that like many top players haven't even mastered, if you ask me. And yeah, it's really important to remember when playing. Yeah. In CS there's like two different main ways you can shoot an enemy, and that's spraying and tapping. Tapping, I would say, it looks always kind of nice and looks really good when watching people tap headshot other people, but it's not always the best way to approach things, if you ask me. I would say, like, mostly if you master your spray, that would be the best thing to do. But there is some special cases where headshotting can, like, going for the tap can be better. For example, if you are behind a few guys in the back, tapping would be ideal because it goes quite faster than spraying. For example, if spraying you have two guys in the back, then the other guy would naturally know faster where you are. So it depends a lot on the situation, but so tapping is just like shooting one bullet at a time, and what's important is that like you don't tap too fast, because then the gun can become unprecise really fast. So it's like stay composed, focus on where the enemy is, aim for the head, and just tap slowly. That's definitely the best way to tap and go for the headshot. And when for spraying, yeah, obviously remember the spray, the recoil and stuff like that, but like you have to also obviously put your mouse down while spraying. That's pretty good. Never make sure that the cursor goes above the opponent. Always make sure it goes lower, obviously. Nowadays in CS, the M4A1S is currently being used a lot more than the M4A4, as there's been like a meta shift in the CS. For the M4A1S, it's a bit easier to spray with than all the other guns, because there's less recoil on it. Going for the head nowadays is like kind of harder. Like the M4A1S is so viable to just spray because it only needs 3 bullets to kill the enemy, while the other weapons need 4 bullets. So that's why the M4A1S is also being used a lot now these days. So when it comes to the pistols, there's obviously the two main pistols for T and CT. For T it's the Glock. The Glock is a pistol that you can use for spamming a lot, I would say. It's pretty precise when you run as well. For example, you can like see here when I'm moving around that it's pretty precise. The thing with the Glock is that it don't headshot in the first bullet, but when you come close it headshots. But that's like when you watch a lot of pro teams plays, you can see them like running with the Glock and shooting. So that's pretty viable for that weapon. And when it comes to the other one, the USP for the CT side, it's not as precise when running, but it has the benefit that it headshots first kill. There you want to be like more precise and more sneaky, as it also has the silencer. So you want to be like more precise, get some good angles to where you can like, yeah, you will get some nice kills with the USP, slowly just aiming for the head. It also is good satisfaction killing guys with the USP, so you just want to be aiming slowly with the USP.